Well, time to start tearing this apart. We've got our pretty much ready to go. Obviously, oil pump bagged up here safely. We will take each of these lines, these oil injector lines, and we'll use masking tape mark where each one of them goes so that we can get them back right where they belong. And then, yeah, then we just got to break into it. We will take the head off. We'll take the reed boxes off of here, the intake, the whole recoil housing out of here. On this side, we got to take the water pump off here. That's these bolts here. Take the water pump off of there. Obviously take these coolant hoses off. Yeah, we'll get a good look inside of her, see where we go from there. But at least for starters, everything on the outside will come off, so all we're left with is essentially a short block. And we'll take her from there. Here goes. Well, we've got the head pulled off here. Gives us a good look inside here. We also, as you saw, got the intake side taken off here and the reeds. I got that coolant line and the oil pump out of here. We get a good look in here. This, of course, is the PTO side, the clutch side, that had the messed up exhaust valve spring. And starting to see something I really don't like. It's hard to see, but right there where my finger is, I think the jug is cracked. Be able to tell a little better here in a bit, but it sure looks like it's cracked right there, which is not good. Not good at all. Anyway, we will take this coolant line off, take the water pump off, get her torn apart, and take a good look at those cylinders. Well, we've got the recoil taken off there, and a couple years ago I did put on a lightweight recoil cup here from Zollinger's with these titanium bolts. So I got to get that removed and take this nut off to get the stator out of there. Now, typically, if you thought you were just going to do the top end, then you wouldn't have to do any of this. Take the reeds off, take the water pump off, any of that. Because you can split the top end once you got just the heads off of here. So, unfortunately, I don't trust the bottom end on this. I'm pretty sure got some water in there too when the motor was submerged. So I'm gonna split everything. In light of that, I'm just taking everything off of it, and then I'll start splitting, taking the jugs off, take a better look at the cylinders, see if they're cracked in there or what. So yeah, taking everything off of it, and then we'll be ready to take the cylinders off. Well, up next is obviously pulling off the flywheel here. I don't have the correct puller for this, so unfortunately I got to jerry rig a little bit of something here. This obviously is made for pulling much larger things. Consequently, I have to use different bolts to thread into here. And I got to stack a couple washers on the outside to make it so the heads don't slide through the slots on the puller. So it's pretty jerry rig. My strong recommendation would be to get the correct puller for this, but in the meantime, this is how we do it. So stand by. And there's our stator, just like that. Not too shabby. I'm gonna get a clean rag to put this in. Well, that's that. Just about ready to take the top off of this. Basically, we got to, I'm gonna take this mounting bracket off here. It's just the two Torx heads here, just because this bracket actually spans the bottom of the case here, the two halves of the case. So we got to take that off later in order to split the case anyway. And then we'll take this shroud off the end here. That'll give us a good look at that seal and that bearing as well. Once we get these off, these two off of here, then we're ready. We're ready to take the cylinder bolts out here, here, and here. And then we'll finally get a really good look at the inside of the jugs and the sides of the pistons. And then we'll split the case open at the bottom, see what the bottom end looks like. So, yeah. Well, we're getting it pretty well torn down here. I guess first off, we'll look at the cylinder here. Cylinders. And as expected, the PTO side doesn't look bad at all. You can actually still see some of the cross hatching on the cylinder right through here. Doesn't look bad at all. However, when we come to the PTO side, the clutch side here, there's some issues. We zoom in right here, and unfortunately, we have a crack right there. It's super hard to see on the video, but 100% it is a crack. I wish I could get a better view here. I might have to take some still photos and put them in here, but yeah, that's the crack right there. Not good. So this set of jugs is pretty much junk. I definitely need new cylinders. The wrist pin on both pistons, actually, I had to knock them out with a socketed an extension and a hammer because they were squeezed in there pretty good. On the PTO side, piston is, as expected, in very rough shape. The rings are welded in there, not moving at all. So yeah, that one's toast. Moving on to the crank. Not much to see here at the moment. We will flip her upside down and split the two halves. Well, I think we found a significant problem, and I'm super glad I split the bottom end open. If you listen really carefully, you'll hear this bearing making noises bearings shouldn't make. So yeah, that's definitely a significant problem. Well, that's about as torn down as she gets. Like I said earlier, we found a significant problem. That bearing should not make that noise. See this one? On the mag side, no noise. That's how it should be. So, we definitely need new crank bearings. The connecting rod bearings seem fine on the surface. The case looks fine. Bottom half looks fine. There's no chipping or cracking that I can find in the cases. Both halves seem structurally sound, which is good news. But yeah, I guess the question now is, what's next? I have a feeling that I'll end up trading the crankcase, crankshaft, and the jugs if they want them, if they think they can fix them. I'll trade them in on a short block as a rebuildable core rather than trying to tackle this all mid-season like this. I think it'll be a lot quicker if I trade it in on a short block core. So I'm gonna have to start looking around for parts. But yeah, definitely can see why this motor was not happy. This sound is worse to me than the sound of fingernails on a chalkboard. That is not cool. Anyway, that's about it for the complete teardown. Stand by for further updates.